Bit of a special treat today. We begin our degree conferrals this morning with a special presentation. We are bestowing an honorary degree on someone who has had a profound impact on the world of sports and sports marketing. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Walter Zakahi, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, to the podium to read the honorary citation for the Doctorate of Humane Letters for Mr. soon-to-be, Dr. Steve Miller.
Steve Miller, you're a visionary. Your passion and creativity has made you an exemplary leader with the knowledge and experience to motivate and lead people in the for-profit and nonprofit sectors. You've excelled as an athlete, a coach, and a businessman, the latter most notably in the world of sports marketing. At Bradley, you were a track star while earning a degree in physical education. You coached high school athletes in your hometown of Chicago before heading to California Polytechnic State University. While there, you earned a master's degree in physical education and biomechanical analysis. If that were not enough, you did this while leading the Mustang track and field teams and the cross-country teams to a combined 5 NCAA Division II national championship titles and 8 California Collegiate Athletic Association titles, coaching greats like Olympian Bart Williams and multiple NCAA distance title winner Jack Schnacknell in the process. You took that success and moved to Kansas State University, eventually serving as athletic director, where you led the effort to turn one of the country's most losing football programs into a top 5 nationally ranked team and 11 straight bowl games. For your varied efforts, the NCAA named you National Coach of the Year 5 times. You're also a member of 5 Halls of Fame. Next, you turned your attention to business and began a 9-year career with Nike, where one of your major accomplishments was the oversight of their $100 million investment in the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney. You then spent several years with the Professional Bowlers Association before taking your vast knowledge back to the classroom at the University of Oregon to serve as a senior analyst and adjunct professor of the Lindquist Business School and Warsaw Sports Marketing Center. Currently, as the Chief Executive Officer of the Agassi Graf Holdings, you lead the efforts of 3 for-profit entities, Agassi Graf Holdings, Agassi Ventures LLC, and Stephanie Graf Ventures LLC, as well as the Andre Agassi Foundation for Education. You have lent your vast array of talents as a board member for numerous organizations, including the Pro Bowlers Association, the Andre Agassi Foundation for Education, the Oregon Sports Authority, the Warsaw Sports Marketing Center at the University of Oregon, Power Plate International, and the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. For your creativity, vision, dedication, and commitment, and for your using your success as a means to help others achieve their goals, Bradley University is proud to confer upon you, Stephen Miller, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa. Will Mr. Miller and President Staniford please join me to present this honorary degree?
In recognition of Steve Miller's professional career that has made such a positive impact on this university and worldwide, I am proud to present this honor. By the power vested in me and with the authority of the Bradley University Board of Trustees, I hereby award Steve Miller the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters. here.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. I'm more than honored, and it's interesting because everybody here has notes. Mine were written on a piece of paper, actually in the back of a napkin, so I'm not exactly sure I'll be up to speed as to the things that I've heard. I graduated from Bradley in 1966, so somebody didn't do their job because they waited 40-some years to get a hold of me. So I just would like to begin with that. I think that the words that you've heard are really impactful and meaningful, but my real interest is talking to you as graduates. I think things are never quite the way they seem. I know when I was graduating, I said, well, I have a degree, and now what? What do I do now? And I'm sure some of you, while you have great plans and thoughts about where you're going and what you're doing, the truth is that one of the mantras you need to remember is you need to define you. You don't need an outside source to define you. You don't need a job to define you. There are no great businesses. There are no great jobs. I know you think there are, and you've been told there are, but what there are great people. Great people make jobs, businesses great. As I said, you never are quite sure that what you see is reality. Several years ago, I was asked to come to Stanford University to give a presentation about leadership and guidance. I was currently at Nike, which I think when you work at a place like that, people think your IQ goes up. Not true. We manufactured shoes, we manufactured product, and we made the rest up. So as a result, we were good. We caught a wave of excellence in running and track and field, and it was an honor. But let me go back to the story about Stanford. My wife Suzanne and I, and Suzanne is sitting up here someplace, we've been married 53 years. Maybe that's all I should say. Maybe I should sit down now. 53 years. We were married when we were 9, and it was an arranged marriage, and it was wonderful. But we went to Stanford, and I was going to give a presentation. We got into the Oakland airport, and we were running a little late, walked fast to the outskirts of the airport. It was raining like crazy, and we kind of ran across the street. Well, one of us ran across the street, and the other one of us hobbled across. And it wasn't her. But as we stood underneath this concrete overhang, and there was all this rain going on, next to me was a gentleman who I assumed was blind, and he had a seeing eye dog with him. And if you've never watched the expertise of a dog like that, it's fascinating. So he took a couple of steps into the street, and the dog pulled back on him, which I thought was very, very interesting. We stood there a few more minutes, and the dog lifted up his hind leg and urinated over this person's knee, shin, shoes. And Suzanne very quietly walked a little farther to her right, and I walked a little closer to the gentleman and said, look, I don't know what you're thinking about, but your dog urinated all over you, and afterwards you reached in your pocket and gave him a dog biscuit. Well, then I flipped farther out, and Suzanne moved farther away, and I said, yeah, interesting. He said, that's right. I wanted to find out where his head was so I could kick him in the ass. So at the end of the day, You know, I promised I wouldn't use bad words, and there didn't even get through a sentence, and here I am. At the end of the day, and this is not meant to be an indictment of parents, but I think as you grow, and when you were children, I think children hear the word no more than they hear the word yes. And probably a lot of that is based on your parents trying to protect you. When your 8 or 9-year-old daughter comes in and says, I want to become president of the United States, a parent is likely to say, why don't you just stand over there, and then we'll talk about it, later on. I'm going to get back to the reality is define yourself. You are going to go through lots of changes. Things are going to happen in your life that you did not plan for. I dare say those things happened at the university. You've got to be aware of the fact that if you are going to take a chance, if you're going to take a risk, there is a certain amount of fear involved. However, you need to make the appropriate decision for you, not for someone else, and it has to be for you. I sat down and I listed some of the things that I've been involved with, I guess, and it took up a lot more room than I thought because either I can't keep a job or I moved from place to place. I picked Bradley University, or Bradley University might have picked me. I was just not that good of a student. I like to think I was, but I really wasn't. I picked my majors. I chose to study or not. I became an athlete and wanted to become a professional athlete, hurt my knee. That ended it. All that period of time, I trained to become a professional football player, and this was my tool. But when I was hurt, this became my tool, and this became my tool. So there was a shift in my direction, which created some consternation for me, a bit of fear, but I was determined to make the best of the circumstance. I became an English teacher, a literature teacher. I coached 5 national championship teams, 5 Hall of Fames have said. I was the assistant director of athletics at Kansas State, then became the director of Kansas State. I ran Special Olympics for a couple of years, became the head of sports marketing at Nike, and I was the CEO of the Professional Bowlers Association, and I hope you don't feel sorry for me for that. So, have been involved in leading and or participating in companies that are $1 billion or more. And I was no different than any of you as it related to my preparation moving forward. But the one thing I wanted to be sure of was that I was able to make my decisions based on my life and not all the suggestions you hear from other people. It does not mean you're not going to get good information, wonderful faculty, wonderful people that I've met over the last several days, but you must define you. And you can't let the environment you live in define who you are and where you're going to be. Here I am, a kid from Chicago, and I have visited the Ivory Coast, Nigeria, several countries in Africa, lived in Europe, lived in Japan, lived in multiple places because I ran Asia Pacific for Nike. It was interesting. But the thing I'm most proud of, and the thing that I think, I'm assuming that very few of you would know, is that when Andre Agassi and I and Steffi Graf got together, we had built a charter school in the city of Las Vegas, and we were very proud and happy to do that. But we didn't think that building that school was making a statement enough. We had 1,500 people come to the school, but 3,000 applicants that we were not able to accommodate. So we took a different tact. We went to see the President of the United States. We talked to Arnie Duncan, who is the Secretary of Education, and we decided to create a for-profit program to build schools. We went out and raised $1.2 billion, and we contacted as many schools as we could that met our due diligence. Now, on the surface, maybe that doesn't move you, maybe it doesn't sound very impressive, we have now built 140 schools in the United States. Yeah. 140 schools and hundreds of thousands of young people's opportunity to make choices for themselves. I'm going to say it again. There are no great businesses. There are no great jobs. You make those jobs and businesses meaningful. I think that it's really genuinely important. I talked about the dog, which was a semi-lie, but the dog story is indicative of another story that I'd like to leave you with, and I want you to think about this, because these are the moments that we get involved with as teachable moments, moments that certain things happen unbeknownst to us. We see them, we think we can define them, and if someone says, I saw that and I understand it, what you need to do is dig a little deeper. When I was engaged with Special Olympics, I was asked to come to California to give an award for the 100-meter dash in a Special Olympics event. And you know, or you should know, that when you get an award in Special Olympics, there's hugging, there's time to talk. And the 100 meters was over, and I gave a ribbon to 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and then 3 I gave a bronze medal to, hugged. 2 I gave the silver medal to, we hugged again. The first winner I gave a gold medal to, hugged him. He hugged me back with a certain degree of enthusiasm, and I walked away because I had been involved with Special Olympics over the years. As I walked away, I walked next to a woman who was very emotional and crying and very, very upset. And I thought that I understood that her son must have won the race. So I said to her, is there anything I can do to help you? She said, my son is 32 years old, and those are the first 2 words he had ever said in his life. Thank you. Now, a pretty teachable moment. A moment when you think you see something and something else occurs. And that's going to happen to every one of you. When you make decisions, go deep. Don't do it superficially. When you want to achieve, don't go superficially, go deep. It's important that you define yourself and do not allow the world to define you. My assumption is, of the couple of thousand people that are here, I was given a Hall of Fame to Bradley because of sports years and years ago, did it during a halftime of a basketball game, and I was convinced that not everybody listened, and it may be the case now. So for those of you that can take away certain things from this, I really feel you need to make those applications to you. I'm thankful to the faculty, thankful to the president, thankful to all of the people I've met, most of all thankful to you as graduates. Leave you with a great, simple line. There are no great businesses. Those businesses are not going to make you great, but you have the capacity to make those businesses great. My congratulations to you, my congratulations to your families, and God bless. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I left my glasses here.
You did.
I don't know if anybody is in the auditorium.
So